Peace and blessings, everyone.
Hello, what's up, family? What's up? Back to the world, back to the world.
Got it again.
We definitely, look forward to another engaging segment. We have had phenomenal conversations, during our first season, and we up into the 24th episode, man. So there's been a lot of growth and a lot of learning, a lot of development, but then also a lot of information that's being spread through this platform. So we really appreciate even having the opportunity to do these type of things, and even the folks that really support this segment, folks that come up, show, even comment in the descriptions or comment on the show. We appreciate all that feedback, right? Even after the conversation happens, you always still are talking about it, but then also folks are sharing it and it's engaged on different platforms. So I think that's a blessing.
Absolutely.
And just a wonderful thing just to be a part of.
Absolutely, it is. I agree very much.
So this week we'll be delving into, of course, we have a very special guest in the house. We'll be talking about the Flint water crisis settlement, and then also water bills and rates. I know it's come a time when folks have to come pay those bills or want to have a plan of action. I think just in general, just being progressive and at the same time proactive.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure that we have our ducks in a row,
and
ensuring that we're protecting the residents and the people in the best way fashion.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
So other than that, how y'all week been going so far? What's new in y'all lives?
Oh man, it's been a busy week. First, I want to give a condolences out to quite a few people. My cousin, she lost her father the other day, so my condolences to my family, as well as to your grandma. We're keeping her in our prayers.
Right.
To Mickey, he's lost his mother.
Mm-hmm.
We are having her homecoming tomorrow. So my condolences to the Jordan family as well. I also want to condolences to a young man that lost his life at my daughter's school. She goes to Mount Morris, and he was in a hit and run accident on his bike. He was in the hospital for a little while. We thought, maybe he was going to come out of it, but he passed away yesterday. So my condolences out to his family and the Mount Morris School District. I know they're taking it pretty hard. Student.
Yeah, while he was on his bike.
Yes, a hit and run, as a matter of fact.
A hit and run. Was this after school or it's like?
Yeah, it happened. After school, but it was a hit and run. It was daylight. It wasn't like he was out at night. It was daylight. He was hit and run, and unfortunately, he passed away yesterday. So my condolences go out to him. I know it's a lot going on. We are not. I don't even know what to say about us right now. We're not tapping into anything right now. I know I've been taking some time, and sometimes you have to step back and you have to recharge and reset, right? And I know a lot of people have been saying that and not noticing me, like on social media. I usually have these uplifting things that I say every morning. My daily positivities, my affirmations, and my meditation. That I do with everybody. However, I had to go within. I had to take some steps back. And just recharge and reset, because you can't give from an empty vessel, right? And I think sometimes that's what we all do. We try to give from an empty vessel, and then it all ends up in a little bit of chaos, right? So I think everybody needs to just take some of that time, sit back, relax, take a deep breath, go within. Just go to a quiet place. You don't necessarily have to do things that I do, as far as meditation and affirmations. You could just sit back and reflect, and sometimes things will come to your mind and you be like, dang, I could have did that another way, or something will come to you and say, yes, I do. You just got to listen to the universe, right? And that's the time that you tap into the universe and your ancestors, and you get all those things together, and it's like a gumbo, and you put it in a pot, and then you go and you eat from it. And so we need to do that, and I think that's some of the chaos that we have going on, and I think we just really need to get into that. I know I had to, so I see y'all back on Monday with my positivity, but I'm chilling on y'all for the rest of the week.
We come to appreciate the positivity coming from the Queen, and just even we talk about meditation and being mindful, right? A lot of times we want to be able to practice self-love. Meditation is one of those ways and gateways to be able to do that, right? So we're able to talk to the Most High, talk to the higher power, just get in the spirit, and operate outside of ourselves. So I think, that's what helped me as I develop and grow.
Definitely.
Just continue to keep praying and continue to take moments in silence. I didn't know how much silence mean, to an individual until I started doing it.
That's right.
I mean, that you don't necessarily have to do anything. Like, even I know a lot of folks like talking about, like, how do you meditate, right? Sometimes it's just like, just breathing. You don't have to have a regimen or anything, but just really taking time for self and just like letting things be calm, letting the blood flow. And, you don't know how much of a difference that makes, especially when you're hustling and bustling all day. You're just on a frantic move, and the stuff is always going and coming at you, and you always having to transition.
That's right.
It gets overwhelming. So for us in these spaces, whether we're working in a community, working with our youth, just doing something to create drastic change, you have to pour in yourself. So I commend you. And I was just talking about, even to the brother Nicky, it's about just even practicing self-love and self-care, because sometimes stuff be happening in our life, and people may not necessarily know the details. They don't know what's going on. But we want to check in with each other, but ensure that we are taking time to address those things, and not just letting things ride and thinking we'll be okay, and saying that stuff, because sometimes it's not. And I was sharing with them. My grandma would say the same stuff. She would say, "I'm okay, I'm alright," and all this. And she's been going through cancer for 3 years. Nobody even knows. So it's just like, that's not how we want to be with each other. We want to be able to communicate those things.
Yeah, I know. Like you said, a lot of people ask, how do you meditate? Sometimes, when you're listening to that, sometimes, you get into that space and you're listening to the song and it resonates with you, and you listen to it over and over and over and over and over again. Like, you listen to it 4 or 5 times in a row. That's a form of meditation. It's just, it's a form of meditation. Everybody doesn't do it the same. But being in a quiet space, man, that can do so much for you. You don't even know. Just quieting the area, just being still, and quieting your mind, and just quieting the things around you. You just, it's amazing that the clarity that you get, when things come to your mind, just from the quiet. Sometimes you can't move correctly. There's so much noise, right? And you miss those little downloads. And so, being in a quiet space gives you an opportunity to get those and to think a little more clear. So, even if you don't do it all the time, take some time sometimes. Even if it's just once a week to start, take some time and go to a quiet place and just get quiet, and just, even if it's in your car. Sometimes I sit in my car in the driveway, because that's sometimes at that point in time, that's the quietest place that I have. And you do it right there. It could be anywhere, but, just do it. You got to take some time for yourself, because self-love is the best love, right? And you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because you don't want to get into a time where you're not, or everything just happens all at once and you don't know how to take it because you haven't been taking the time for yourself. So, make sure you do that. Do that for yourself, and then do that for the people around you, because, despite how you may feel about whomever, somebody cares that you're around. Somebody cares that you're around. So make sure that you're doing those things to make sure that you're around for those people, not necessarily for monetary purposes or anything. Sometimes it could just be your presence, or just your smile that makes somebody's day every day. And, and they need that, and they'll miss that when they're there. And that goes into, us saying that we need to be giving people their flowers while they're here. Make sure you tell people that you appreciate them. Like, I make sure that I tell them all the time, like, I appreciate you. It could be just something small, but if you appreciate that person, make sure you let it be known, because some people don't even do that, and have not even heard anybody say, "Yeah, I appreciate you. I care about you. I appreciate you." Just little things like that. Or, "You look so nice today." Something. They might not have heard that, and that would just be the thing that take them off the edge. Because we don't know where people we have been talking to so many people that are on the precipice of destruction and ready to jump off a ledge, and we have no idea. And that one little thing could just change their whole outlook. One little thing. I'm telling you, like, you have no idea how much one little smile or one little, "Hey, how you doing?" can change everything, because nobody said anything to them all day or for a whole month or a year, and they felt like they were invisible. Nobody even saw them. And just show, "Hey, how you doing?" Changes the whole thing. Yeah, we need to do better.
That's good.
We definitely do.
You know, when you mentioned about condolences and then honoring our individuals that's transitioning, I too have a motorcycle friend, 75 years old. His name was Chester Price, and he also died of a tumor that I had. He lost his battle the other day, and they're making arrangements now. But it's those kind of things, when those situations present themselves, and like we did a couple of weeks ago, and being reminded about, the self-care that you guys were talking about, and then how important it is to really, really be conscious about honoring and celebrating one another, healing some of the wounds that we may have with family members and friends, developing a sense of forgiveness. I think all those things are at the core, like my sister was saying about, she needed to step back and really work on some self-care, and so often we get so caught up in the activities of life and how, it become overwhelming. And so, it is really critical that we really take that time to investigate, being quiet, being still, stepping back, stepping out, reassessing, reevaluating some things. And when you kind of incorporate that into your life and make it a habit, again, that's how you're able to really move in a different way. So, I definitely commend you on even saying that, because so often, we always are trying to win at all costs, right? And we don't realize that in that winning and that pure driven of winning at all costs, we miss so much. Like I talked about last week about just going out hugging a tree, or sitting there talking to a tree, or going by some water, and communing with some water. Not in the bottle, but like in, in the body of water. Those simple things that don't cost anything. Just your time to get there and just commune with, a body of water, and how refreshing that can be. So, to our audience, we just want to just ask you guys to just take up some of these ideas and some of these challenges and incorporate it into your life.
It's funny that you said that, like by a body of water and hugging a tree, because I most days I go by Stepping Stone Falls, and I walk that trail back there.
Okay.
So I walk back there in the trail, and then I go to the falls and I sit. Right?
How do you deal with the mosquitoes?
Man,
Wow.
it's a mess, but
Man.
I still go, because it just give me peace of mind, right?
Yeah.
It's just I think my peace of mind overpowers that, right?
Okay, then, that's good.
So I think it does. But you know what? While I'm walking, I'm fine.
Okay.
It's when I go, like when I'm going by the falls, it get a little gnarly down there. But when I'm walking, I'm actually okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's a little bit different because because I'm in motion. I'm not really sure. But when I'm walking, I'm fine.
Okay.
But it's different. I've been taking my bike down there a few times too. But I like to walk more because it gives me a little more time to reflect. You don't have to really worry about watching people when I'm riding. Whatever. But I walk, and sometimes I walk in silence, but sometimes I put on some instrumental music. No words, always instrumental, and I just walk and I just reflect and I just take the time. It just gives me peace of mind, good, bad, and ugly. Sometimes I go down there, especially in the bad and the ugly. It make me, it refreshes me. So, I'm glad you said that, because that is some things that I do. So, even it's just a restaurant that I like to go to. That's why I right by a lake, by a body of water. So I go there too. Sometimes I just sit out there on the deck and I just, that's it. That's it. So we have to make sure that we take that time to do those things for ourselves, because life is life, and it's gonna keep moving whether we do or not, and we have to be able to do something to deal with it, right?
We may be the players in the game right now, but life always goes on. There's gonna be a whole new set of people out here doing work and carrying on this great torch that we have had the blessing to be a part of. So, it's funny that y'all talk about even that regenerating. Like when I'm in the South, I do a lot of walking, sure, and then also just being out there in that peaceful, like in the country, is like it's nothing. So you know, we be out there just kind of like trying to figure it out. But I take my shoes and socks off.
Grounded.
Grounded, right?
Oh, it's my favorite.
I have to get that electricity going.
Grounded.
And a lot of folks, you know, don't realize, man, it's power. You know, all our toxins and stuff come down our body and shoot down to our feet.
Yeah.
So we have to be sure that, you know, we are regrounding ourselves, we regenerating, right? We getting that toxins out of us, right? And just really feeling good about ourselves. So, you know, that add on some more years to our lives. And, you know, so I really appreciate even, you know, these tips, and we suggest that, you know, we all kind of follow some type of self-love and self-care while you are here living your best life.
You know, when you say that, you know, periodically I go kayaking sometimes with my grandson, and you know, just being out there, you know, and as you just said, being communing and with Mother Earth, man, you know, it's just amazing, you know, and just as those tips, guys, that, you know, we get so caught up in the winning that when we do those simple things, man, you know, it can really add to our life, and then it could slow us down enough where we can kind of see things a little bit clearer. Because some things maybe we shouldn't get engaged with, even some people.
Right.
You know, when you take that time really to spend with yourself, you're always reassessing, right? And so in that process of reassessing, you get a chance to kind of, you know, see with that third eye and hear with that third ear.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
When you say about, you know, kind of keep it going because we trying to win the day, I think, you know, we steady out there trying to win, you know, trying to keep our feet on the ground, you know, keeping our feet on their necks, right? You know what I'm saying? I think that's an attitude. That's a winning attitude that we have. And the thing is, sometimes, too, is just taking time to reanalyze, right? And that's nothing different than just kind of strategizing when a team call a timeout.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's like a timeout in life. We in the game.
Right.
And trust me, we moving. We got to be running. We always got work to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing of being out there, being present, and being available. Because in our community of Flint and just other urban and black communities, we got an uphill battle to climb. So we always on the battlefield.
Yeah.
That never ends. And we need more soldiers and meaning more brothers and sisters out there with us, continuing these efforts. So then that way we spread this energy around, and then also the work becomes much easier and manageable because everybody is taking part in it. And so, you know, when we talk about our folks is out there, when you're seeing people out there dedicating their lives towards the struggle, or you know, and really trying to, you know, step up and make a difference, that should be inspiring, you know, to those who may be watching and who wants to get involved, who wants to get engaged, may not know the necessary steps, but you have people who are out here as trailblazers. So like we were just talking about, just showing love and giving thanks, you know, in this community, man, you know, I'm thankful for all the people that have left a lasting legacy, even those that are still here, that continue to give everything they got, and they will never stop because, you know, they believe so much in it, and the passion is what drives them every time. And so, you know, we want to be able to give our flowers to our people every time we see them. Every time you see somebody out there, man, make sure that you give them show them some love. Right? I know it's from COVID season, however you want to do it, whether it's a dap, a shoulder, an elbow, or just even telling them thank you. Right? I see you. I appreciate it. I appreciate what you bring. I appreciate what you bring to the table. And so, you know, if there's any way that I can be of assistance, you know, those are the conversations that we need. We need to be spreading more love amongst each other.
Absolutely.
Even as us as black people, we're just saying, like, there's nothing wrong with telling the brothers, man, I love you boys, man, I love you, man.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? We locked in for life. And so even if we got issues, man, it ain't never enough because life is so short. That we really want to make sure we take advantage of each day, and then advantage of having the opportunity to having these people around. So, you know, it's never more important than to give our flowers to our people.
Absolutely.
Now, and, you know, with everything going on in this world, you know, they appreciate that. So, you know what I'm saying? I really appreciate, you know, that conversation being had. I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate everybody who was out there in the grind. Make sure we talked about these steps of self-love, but then also, man, just understand, man, you know what, you are loved.
You know, when you say, you know, when you mention that, I got to thinking about, we have all these different podcasts and a lot of different platforms, and it's somewhat derived around opinion
Yep.
or spreading tea.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how you get millions of hits and you get so much excitement around gossip, falsehood, and innuendos and opinions,
Right.
as opposed to facts.
Right.
Right.
And I think that we need to be real conscious about living and existing in facts, and don't get distracted by, the teas and the gossip and all these other things. By giving facts and backing facts up, that makes it very clear as far as what we're working to do as far as healing and repairing our community, and also recruitment and getting people on board to understand that they have a responsibility to participate in change. And again, we can't sit back and feel that, we just gonna let others do these things. A lot of times people complain why Black Lives Matter is not doing this, why the NAACP is not doing this, why are you not doing that, and why are you not doing that? So the question should be, why aren't you part of solutions?
Absolutely.
That's the issue. Why aren't we more part of the solution?
I'm glad you said that, because I was, Vicky and I were having a discussion earlier, kind of around that, and I was saying, just take the Flint Politics Reboot page in that, for instance, and I said, well, I'm not a part of that, so I don't see it, because, it's always,
It's a bunch of mess.
whew, child, oh my goodness, whew. It is the messiest thing I've ever seen. I'm not even gonna lie. Y'all know, I call it duck a duck, right? That is the messiest thing I've ever seen. However, I just got a little annoyed at it, because I'm like, who are these people, right? And my questioning, who are these people, is because, like, y'all have so much mouth and so many opinions about people, and I've never seen any of these people. I've never seen any of these people at a fight. I've never seen these people. Like, I feel like y'all want, man, listen, I'm talking about, y'all look like if I gave you a sandwich, you wouldn't bite the bread. I'm not understanding what's going on. Like, they have so many things to say, and it's the most negative thing I've ever seen, right? And I'm just like, seriously, like, who are these people? Like, I don't see you in these places, in these spaces. I see you on these pages, but I only see you on these pages, right? Why don't we see you in the fight? Like, why are you asking where's Black Lives Matter? Because I don't see you at any of the things that we're doing.
At all.
Like, I've never seen your face. I don't understand it. Or you get on this podcast, this exact podcast, and you'll have a million things to say, but I've never seen you at anything that we've been at. Never. Like, I have no clue, no idea. Not once did you call and ask about something, inbox about something, but it's always some type of negativity. Listen, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. However, I know some people that it does ruffle their feathers, right? And it knocks them off their square. It doesn't to me. It just makes me want to call you out. And it makes me want to say, hey, since you're saying all of this and you got all of this to say, like, what is it? So I guess everybody had been feeling away about, Kate Fields being censored, right? And then they were talking about that Monica Galloway's gonna lose her seat because she for this and she initiated and she's saying this and she's saying that. And I'm like,
politics,
yeah, and I'm like, over Kate Fields? Are you guys freaking kidding me? Over Kate Fields? Really? Y'all really feel like that about this lady? Over Kate Fields? The same lady that called y'all the you people? Seriously? Because she said you people are going, ooh, you can't even hear the rest of what she said after she said you people. I'm like, whoa. And y'all okay with that?
No,
now, y'all not okay with she's saying you people, but y'all upset because she felt the way. Listen, I was so lost at that whole thing. Like, I was totally lost in it. I don't understand how you didn't see Kate Fields for what she was prior to her and Eva. Like, you didn't see this before. Now all of a sudden you want to get on the bandwagon and she racist. She said this. She been. That don't happen overnight. She didn't just grow that.
Right.
She been studying that a long time. Studying it. She been studying that a long time. Both of them. and you just now seeing it, and now you just now want to say something, then y'all upset because it's Neely supporters, it's Weaver supporters. Listen, y'all should be black supporters and it's water nasty supporters. I don't care who is in what office. It's the bigger picture. We be focused on the wrong things, and you let all these other little distractions take you away from the bigger picture. Y'all eating from the trash. You eating from the trash, and I don't understand that. That makes me so sad to know that our people are just eating from the trash, and you letting all of these distractions just get you thrown off your square about everything. You're mad about who's getting on the Flint Board of Education, but then now one of you suckers step up to do it, and you knew the seats were open. But you want to cry about who in the seats? Shut up. That's stupid. You don't want to do nothing, but you want to cry about who in it. You should have done it. You could have stepped up and got in that same seat. If you feel like you can do better, then go do it. Don't just talk about these people behind their backs when they get in a position. Then you got something to say. Y'all keyboard gangsters kill me. Oh, I mean, like, I literally want to lay down and put lilies on top of myself. How dead I be about this. It's ridiculous.
I'm lilied up.
You know what I'm saying? It's so exhausting to see all of that hatred over that when all y'all need to come together. And I feel like this. If you feel a way about Monica Galloway and the things that she said, approach her. Say something to her. I ain't see what the big issue was. I feel like from the beginning, I don't think she should have jumped in the bed with Kate Fields, and even from the beginning anyway. That was her fault from the beginning, right? But then you jump in the bed with dogs, you get fleas, right? So now she need a flea collar, and y'all gonna hang it over her head. Hey, listen, she made her own bed, but that doesn't mean that because now she's seeing the light, it doesn't mean that now we saying, oh, we gonna cancel her for it. She did. Yeah, they're saying. So Florinda, what's her name? Florinda Lee Hall. Florinda Lee Hall said that Monica Galloway was gonna lose her seat
for
7 counts.
For walking out, for staging a walkout.
For censoring Kate Fields.
For censoring Kate Fields,
yeah.
She feels that Monica will leave her.
She's gonna lose her seat. That's what I'm saying. Over Kate Fields, that makes me feel like, when you say things like that make me feel like, without saying that you for Kate Fields, you for Kate Fields. Period. That's what that makes me feel like. Because at what point does a person that's spewing racism need a seat in anywhere?
Let's talk about that. I think, when it comes to our people, some of us have a mental disorder, right? So if you take the city council, we know Kate is a racist. We know that she doesn't have the best interest for residents of the city of Flint. We know that she's done shady business deals behind the scenes. We know that she has made racist comments on the public platform. So, these are things that we all know about this woman.
Right.
But it's a thing of saying, what are we going to do about her? We don't have enough ability to say, hey, we're going to go ride against her. We're not going to side with her and play this game and talk about, hey, who's right and she's smart and she's been doing this work for a long time. No, that woman is crazy. And that woman has played a part in being deceitful on that city council board. It's like folks don't vote on morals. They don't ever vote on what the real issue is, or they don't take what the constituents are asking them to do. What they're doing is you have the same old people rolling with the same old teams and doing the same old moves because they don't like the other side. And so that puts us in the middle, and that makes sure that we don't get the resources, we don't get our garbage contracts right? We don't get youth programs, all these dollars that came into the city of Flint. You ain't heard now one talk about no youth programs. I think this is when we talk about a vision for us as in people in this community, our leadership. We have to hold them accountable. Everybody black, you don't have to feel like you have to go by white standards. You don't have to be brainwashed and thinking that they're smarter than you or they can apply business better than you, like Maurice used to say about Kate. Like, I thought that was the most demeaning thing when a brother says those things and give that woman so much power when she don't deserve anything.
Yeah.
She's really not necessarily that smart. It's just somebody who's playing on your psyche. And that's what we be saying with us. Like, we not strong enough. I don't think that we even feel like we strong enough to even be in opposition to them. In this city, we majority run this city. But if you look at it, the city is ran by majority Caucasian folks.
Narcissistic Caucasian folk.
Right. And we don't, and what they're doing, they have their own agenda. So it doesn't include you. And then we get mad because we're not at the table. Or we get mad because the water crisis settlement numbers are not correct.
Mm-hmm.
We get mad because it's high crime in the city
Mm-hmm.
where these students don't have a school to go to or no employment to even create a career off of.
Right.
You can't get mad because you ain't been a part of the conversation or you ain't been stepping on their toes. Because for one, when we say public figures in the light that we elect work for us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You don't step up and say or come to these meetings, come to these school board meetings,
Absolutely.
attend city council, not to be a part of the clown show,
Right.
and not to just be sitting up there and making jokes because this is not funny, and then not for people who don't even live in Flint to have more conversation about what goes on in Flint.
Right.
That type of stuff has to stop, and so you have to ask yourself, do I really want to have a future in the city of Flint?
Mm-hmm.
Am I really committed towards building something greater, a robust community, so my children, my grandchildren don't have to go through these same pitfalls that we find ourselves always trying to come up out of? They get a point where it becomes tiring that we have to go ahead and fight, and we fight, and then we losing all our energy, and we get nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like at a wit's end, and sometimes that's where that meditation has to come into play.
Yes.
Because I would be seriously frustrated, and I'll probably be very violent. And I'm trying, like Brother
Absolutely.
Roberts be talking about strapping dynamite on folks. Like, I look at that like a real thing. Like, that's some real drop squad stuff that needs to take place with some of our brothers and sisters in this community because they're not stepping up in the way that we need to.
That's right.
So,
And when you said earlier, my sister said, why are we behaving as we're behaving? And you said it eloquently, because when you think you are trash, when you think that you don't matter,
Mm-hmm.
when you are conditionally brainwashed to fear white people,
Mm-hmm.
and that your job and your livelihood and everything that you are is connected to them, and they can cut you off at any time, that is why we're in the state that we're in today.
Mhm.
As you just said about these keyboard gangsters
Mm-hmm.
and this mentality where we are accepting trash is because we feel like we're trash.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
at this time, though, we do want to transition. I know what we do have this impact. We actually have history impact with Brother Hubert Roberts, and he normally does it via video, but we're going to go ahead and give you a live segment today. So at this time, we would like to pass the mic over to our brother Hubert, so he can provide you with another history impact from Brother Hubert.
Again, hello my community again. This is another segment for Black Lives Matter, Flint, History Impact, Wakanda. Today, and again, we want to really get into some information. I want you guys to look at this fine, beautiful gentleman here. This gentleman is a beautiful gentleman here. He is Jimmy Wakefield. Jimmy Wakefield. Who is Jimmy Wakefield? This is a jockey. This is a brother. This is one of our family members back in the day. And why am I bringing up Kentucky and Jimmy Wakefield? Well, one thing about Mr. Wakefield, along with Isaac Murray, Will Hubbard, I've got to mention those beautiful brothers' names because most people don't realize the significance of Kentucky. And when we talk about the Kentucky Derby, a lot of times we don't realize what those jockeys, the early jockeys in the Kentucky Derby was all black. The greatest Kentucky Derby rider was Isaac Murphy. Y'all think about that. The greatest rider ever was Isaac Murphy. The greatest jockey in the history of the Kentucky Derby. And you think about the irony of Kentucky, and they call it the Bluegrass State.
Mm-hmm.
And the University of Kentucky and all of the resources in Kentucky, at one time it was hemp, tobacco, so you guys know what Kentucky produced. Hemp, tobacco, and horses. And who would you think was at the forefront before 1865 and even after was people that look like me and you. And why this is great information that we always got to remind ourselves when we talk about history impact, I want us to connect the dots about people and how we created industry. We created the Kentucky Derby or horse breeding. When you think about the whole breeding of thoroughbreds, this is something that we, people that look like me and you, African Americans of African descent, actually created. And what's so beautiful about this whole Kentucky Derby, you know, after Jim Crow and after all that stuff went into place, you know, they stopped allowing black and brown people to be jockeys. Y'all think about the insidiousness of this whole action. We started the Kentucky Derby. The first winner of the Kentucky Derby in its history was a black person. Y'all think about that, the inception of running thoroughbreds and producing thoroughbreds. And one thing about this brother here, Jimmy Whitfield, how bad he was. He was so bad, he left the United States in 1904 and went over to Russia. He get over there in Russia, he's treated, they called him Sir Blackaman, right? Because he was black. But he get over there in Russia and get with the people over there that love horses and thoroughbreds. He blow up. He got all kind of cottages and palaces because he was an excellent horse breeder. And what happened was he got caught up over there back in the early 1990s when they were having the Bolsheviks were chasing people. The Tsar of Russia, they was chasing these people down to kill them. He got 250 horses, the best thoroughbred horses, and he rode them all through Poland, Hungary, all those different European countries to get them over to Paris to save the Tsar's horses. That's how bad this brother was. Wow. You never found this in your history books. And again, information is power. And it's so important for us to really understand how powerful that we are and where we come from. And this installment of our History Impact is designed around giving us a sense of history, a sense of purpose and direction. Because when we draw from what others have done, you can't be what you don't see. And that's why they have tried to hide, they have tried to lie, they have tried to twist material and information so we can continue to think that we have no value. And our goal here, Black Lives Matter, and with this history piece, and then we're going to come up with a new segment. I've been working on a new segment too. The segment is going to be called It Would Be Nice to Be White. So that's a segment that I'm working on. I'm just working on it, so I'm just putting that out there as a commercial. I'm working on a little impact. Dealing It Would Be Nice to Be White. And what that is going to center around is how being white, how you are treated in a certain type of genre or a certain type of light. You are treated so much differently when you present yourself as a white person. So we definitely going to, do the George with the good hair and the Becky with the good hair. We're going to tap into that a little bit, as we move forward. So again, it's so important that we really understand that at the time of during 1865 or 1867, after the Civil War, what the Kentuckians did, along with the people returning back from the war and everything, the plantation owners or the landowners had a conversation with a lot of the black people that were coming back from the war, and they made a deal. They weren't going into servitude or enslavement again. They actually made a deal and a contract where they developed hamlets, meaning little free towns. They had about 27 of them in central Kentucky. And this is where they was having a fair, equitable relationship with an owner or a boss, and then you are the workers. And so you guys have a mutual agreement, come to terms to work out this contract where it's benefiting everyone. And again, that is not taught in our history books. And a lot of times, that's why we really gotta dig deeper, research our information, because it is there. A lot of the information that I research and that I work to uncover, it's really there, guys. Because when you think about America, it was definitely, and don't get this twisted, the University of Kentucky, we always highlight the basketball and holler about that team. That university was built on the backs of enslaved people. And this country also was built on the back of enslaved people. This country owes reparations. There's no excuse for that. And again, we as a people got to do our best to present ourselves, as our queen was saying earlier, about standing up and being committed to doing those things that are right and wrong. Again, I want to thank you. This, again, is a History Impact, Black Lives Matter. I'm Hubert Naeem Roberts. My number is 810-394-4105. MentorRoberts@gmail.com. And again, we also want to send out some information about, we're always looking for recruitment and people come and be a part of Black Lives Matter. We're getting ready to engage in our annual Involved Dads, where we're going to be greeting students at the local school starting October the 4th, 7:30 a.m. at Southwestern. We're going to be greeting students there, so I'm hoping that you in the community will come out, men and women and everybody come out and greet our precious, brilliant students as they go into the school. We do that the first Monday, the second Monday, the third Monday, or fourth Monday of the school. It's different schools each Monday. The second Monday will be New Standard. Third Monday is going to be Scott's and BTM, the school over there on Universal Drive, I think it's called Durant Mart. And then the fourth Monday will be Eagle's Nest. So again, that information is going to be sent out over our website, and we just want our community to come out and greet and really encourage our precious students to be their best. Thank you so much. Wakanda out.
Fli-City got some dogs in it, dogs in it. Fli-City come off authentic, authentic. We light it up like arson and sauce in it. We light it up like arson and sauce in it. Fli-City got some dogs in it, dogs in it. Fli-City come off authentic, authentic. We light it up like arson and sauce in it.
Oh, okay.
Welcome back. Greatly appreciate Reverend Roberts for that segment. And just dropping those jewels and that information to ensure that we have a good opportunity to really kind of understand like some history about ourselves, but then also give you opportunity to kind of look up some things that may give you some greater insights on our contribution to civilization. So,
Right.
Great job, brother. As we transition, we got our special guest up here with us, our beloved, wonderful queen in our community. And we have been talking about giving our flowers to. It's one that's been out there on the front lines for a long time. Since I was out here, she's been out here, right? So it's just good to be able to sit up under, our elders. And listen to the knowledge and information that they have, the wisdom that they share. And just grateful to have you. So, Mama Claire, a.k.a. Miss Harriet Tubman. Definitely in the house on it now. How you doing, Mama?
I'm doing just fine. It's good to be with you all again. And I really enjoyed the first segment about self-care and self-love. And that was very informative and empowering. And anything that we can do to make ourselves stronger is helpful. So I appreciated that segment.
Well, good. I'm glad we could do that, because, everybody doesn't really, sometimes, you move so much and you do so much, you don't even think about it, right? So it's nice to get those little jewels dropped so you can, be cognizant of some of those things, right?
Yes, it's just wonderful.
Yeah.
We need to do more of that.
We do, we definitely.
We trying to encourage that. I think, you know, just like we saying, it's definitely something that's a learned behavior, and that's something that I have took over time. You know, working with the likes of Mrs. Deloney.
Yes.
You know, she's very big on meditation and very big on self-care and ensuring that you pour back in because you give so much out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, just you know, and I always just look at like folks like her and folks like you and Bishop, right? All the champions, you know, that's out there grinding, you know, from the water crisis, right? And just always being out there on the front line for the people, no matter what the issue may be. It's just standing strong on principle. And so we always got to go ahead and recognize that.
Yes.
And so tell us,
Appreciate
like,
it.
I'm trying to tell you. So we giving you your flowers.
Definitely we are. We definitely are.
Okay.
And we want to make sure that and definitely so, talk to us. So where we at now? You know, 7 years water crisis has been going on. The settlement is a disrespect, it's a slap in the face.
Yes.
Water bills are sky high.
Yes.
We pay the highest rate around the country.
Yes.
Those things are kind of crazy for us to be in that position.
Yes.
Please provide us some relief. What are the updates?
Well, we're all waiting to hear what the judge is going to decide. We don't anticipate her changing anything that has been already laid out for the water settlement. So what we have with the water settlement is this. 80% of it is going to children, but there's going to be hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people, including children, who won't get anything because of the way the settlement was designed. It had a lot of hurdles. You had to have documentation about proving that the water caused your physical harm.
Yeah.
There's a max of $1,000 on home damages. So if you lost your water heater or, you know, people lost their refrigerators and things from that toxic water, and the max for a homeowner is $1,000. So it's a lot of loopholes and disrespect in the water settlement. That being said, that they have not signed off on it yet, and it's a couple of little hiccups in the settlement. One of the hiccups is this. Dr. Reynolds has filed an objection, Lawrence Reynolds, from Flint, has filed an objection and is accusing one of the law firms of using a handheld device that was supposed to detect the amount of lead in your bones. And Dr. Reynolds is charging that is almost like the Tuskegee experiment, is what he's saying.
Wow.
Because the device was never licensed when they started using it from the state of Michigan. And Dr. Reynolds is saying that there was a radiation levels that was above what would be proper. And last but certainly not least, the company who manufactured the device said it was not to be used on humans. So that's one of the objections that the judge has got to deal with. The other problem is that
Can I ask you, what is your take on that? Because last week we did have Brother Reginald Davis in, who was representing Apostolic, and who has done and performed the bone marrow lead testing
yes.
of Flint residents. And so he kind of came in and gave his descriptive of, you know, the amount of rays that the device may have give or affect on people, right? And then also did elaborate on the fact that now that the tool has been accepted in the case, so and I'm just kind of throwing stuff out. So I mean, I'm just so that we had a conversation or clarity about it. What is your take, and then what is your take on the accusations brought upon by Lawrence Reynolds?
Well, first of all, Dr. Reynolds is somebody that we respect as among the water warriors because he came out early with the Genesee County Medical Society and ordered, and they ordered a whatever order that women, pregnant women, children, and anyone with a compromised immune system should not drink the water. And Dr. Reynolds was responsible for putting that out, even while the officials from Michigan Department of Environmental Quality was saying, oh, the water's fine. You know, we saw Dane Wilding drinking water on TV, and they said no. So he's garnered some respect from the community on the role that he has played.
Right.
And he also was he's retired now, but he was formerly over the Children's Health Center over at Hurley. And when Dr. Mona came out with her findings about the lead, and he was 100% supportive of what she was doing. He was over that Children's Center. He supported her 100%. In a lot of cases, like in Washington, D.C., when people tried to come out with information about lead, they got fired. They were whistleblowers. Dr. Mona was a whistleblower. Okay, so we respect Dr. Reynolds. Now, I do not know, and I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know what's what, but I have to at least be skeptical because of the way we have been done over these years. You know, so what we say is that and this is what we said about the settlement. We did a video on the settlement and told people this is what your options are. We didn't tell people they should do it, sign up, we said, if you want to get in this, and we told them the different ways that you could sign up, or if you didn't want to sign up, what you should do. We never told people what's good for you. It's each individual's decision.
Right.
Whether they want to accept that or not. But the problem is, see, the reason the tests were even done is because, and many of your audience probably already knows this, but lead dissipates out the blood system in 30 days. So you don't have no way to detect it.
Right.
So the thought behind this equipment was to check the bone, because lead does stay in the bone. So that was the thought behind it. But what we say is that each person has to make that decision for themselves.
That's true.
So I'm just reporting on the fact that may be something that holds up the water settlement.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm reporting out.
The injection. Okay.
So
in fact, that now we have an objection in place that may hold up the water crisis settlement. When is folks expected to, I guess after this objection, when are folks expected to see some type of sort of payment?
Well, we were told that she would make her decision by August, and here it is almost October, and we haven't heard anything. But again, we don't anticipate anything close to justice. Even if she signed it and say, okay, people are going to be very disappointed and shocked at the fact that they may not get anything, and if they get something, it'll be very underwhelming.
Yeah.
Okay, so this brings me into what we're dealing with now, with the city of Flint getting $97 million from the federal government. And what we shared before was this: usually when the federal government disperses money, they give it to that state, and that state disperses it to your city. That's one thing. This is different. This money is coming directly into the city of Flint coffers.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes this money different.
Okay.
The second thing is that a lot of times the money is earmarked and it says, here's some money, but you have to spend it on this, this, or this. This money does have some parameters, but they're very broad,
Okay.
very broad. And Representative Dan Kildee came to city council, he said, these are very broad. So, like if you have a category, like one of the categories is housing.
Mm-hmm.
It's very broad what you can do with housing. So, it is up to us to say, what do we wanna see done
Mm-hmm.
as it relate to housing? And we shared this with you all before that we have been out here gathering signatures to get a water affordability plan
Mm-hmm.
for the city of Flint.
Mm-hmm.
That water is a human right, and a lot of people say that, but you don't act like it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's a human right, and you just explained it, why are we paying the highest rates in the country for
Absolutely.
water we can't use?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
That's a problem. So we had an opportunity to learn from other cities, and it's not a lot of them, who have their own water affordability plan. And the idea behind the water affordability is this: everyone should have access to water, so therefore, your water bill should be based on your ability to pay, not what you use.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely it does.
And so we gathered, well, nearly 500 signatures for that, and then we got another 500 signatures to make water shutoffs illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Make shutoffs, no shutoffs
That's right.
in the city of Flint.
I agree.
And we can utilize, you saying we can utilize some of that $97 million from the COVID relief bill to be able to apply towards the balances or water balances to zero out.
Well, I don't know if you can directly do that, but you can do some other things so that you can at least use some of your already funds that you have
In the general
towards
fund.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. So we gotta be creative. I
Yes,
think this is where
yes.
you talk about being visionary about utilizing this $97 million because it's a broad margin.
It's 94.
Or 94.
Mhm.
Did Neely take $3 million out of that?
No, remember it's supposed to be 99. Somehow when it
99.
was supposed to be 99, by the time it got to Flint, it was 94. So it's 47 this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, 47 next year. That's 94.
So whatever happened to the $5 million? Is that?
I think
is
that
a
they
thing?
had recalculated the formula.
Gotcha.
At first it was 99, but they did something with the formula.
Who did?
The feds, because I don't know exactly how it went, but what it was the way they distributed, they had to adjust it for some areas.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay, we still gonna check the books on that down at the general fund. The new CFO at the city, we need to get those numbers, right? We wanna see exactly where we stand. And I think this is a thing for us as a city. You know, we should be learning how we wanna move from here and holding folks accountable. And not only just going with the flow and allowing stuff to just take place, but really be all hands on.
Y'all stop paying that water bill. I'm telling you, everybody stop paying it. Put your money in escrow. So if it come back on you, you say you got the money and it's right there. Put it in escrow, but stop paying it. Same as your rent. If your landlord not doing what he's supposed to be doing with your house, you don't pay your rent. You withhold your rent and you put it in escrow. The judge even tell you that. And as long as you have it in escrow, the judge will always rule in your favor. Stop paying the damn bill. Stop it. Everybody, stop paying it. What they gonna do? It's already nasty. Stop paying it.
Everybody has to buy in. Right?
Everybody.
I know the conversation on that lately has been there's some folks that's not paying the bills and they're standing on that, putting it in escrow, etc. But then you have folks who are paying the bill, right, and feel as if, hey, I'm paying the bill. I feel everyone else should pay their bill.
Yeah.
That type of attitude, which is, you know, I understand now.
Yeah,
understand.
well, one of the things that we're saying is, as we get into the details of this, maybe we can, look at negotiating credits to those that have been
There you
paying.
go.
But
There you
the
go.
other thing is this, you have companies around here and absentee landlords. Think about Sussex.
Right, yeah.
Remember Sussex? That was some years ago.
Pearson Road.
The landlord had not paid the water bill. They turned the water off. Now, these are tenants. Their water bill is included in their rent.
Correct.
The absentee landlord wasn't paying the water bill. The city turned the water off. The building got condemned,
Right.
evicted all these poor people.
That's what happened in Drummond Square, and that was in Flint Township. You remember that happened in Drummond Square?
Another absentee landlord?
Yeah, he wasn't paying it. That the water, the water was included in their rent,
Of course.
and they stopped paying. It's the one that was they were right next to Sunridge. Those apartments that were directly right next door to
Yes.
Sunridge, Drummond Square, and they stopped paying. He wasn't paying the water bill, and all of those people had to move,
So,
and those were condemned as well. Same thing.
yeah. See, that brings us another issue when we're talking about absentee landlords. It's a reason why we shouldn't allow folks who may not have a necessary interest or investment in the city to own property or brick and mortars in the city, right? Because you get situations like that. They're not here. They don't care about these people. They don't even care about the circumstances of their investment. So they let it go to waste. So that's another issue that really caused a problem. in the
And you
city.
know, and for the most part, and being that you said that, you know, that there were foreigners that owned it. They didn't care. They were foreigners. They didn't, you know, they don't care about anything here. They just care about that. They were getting rich off of us.
It's just business.
That's what it was.
And some of the things that we have learned that we didn't even wanna know, about this water situation, and kinda telescoping back and looking at the big picture. The whole, going back to the emergency manager and the water switch, and looking at how all of this came about. It came about because you have Wall Street investors who's trying to steal water assets from our cities.
Speak on it.
We have learned, and we learned this just recently, the water bill in the city of Flint, 60% of your bill is going to pay off bonds. You're not even paying for water.
Say that again.
60% of your water bill, we learned this when they had the hearings down at City Hall, when they were doing the budget hearings. And the CFO at the time, she's no longer here, was asked, well, where does the funds for the water go to? I mean, how is it broke down? 60% of your water bill is going to pay bonds. So, who is the bondholders? The bondholders is the people that backed the KWA. See, all this is all connected together. But the bottom line is, okay, we are paying J.P. Morgan, rich folks. They don't need our poor money. J.P. Morgan, Stifle Securities, and one other one, I can't think of the name of it. Right, let's see. I think I got it right. But this is who we paying for our water.
So what are we paying J.P. Morgan Chase for? What are we paying them for?
Because they're the ones, it was Wells Fargo was the third one.
Okay.
They are the ones, we on the hook, even though we're not on KWA,
Yeah.
the way they negotiated it, we're on the hook to pay a big portion of the bond that went in to build the KWA.
Who set this deal,
I
man?
was just gonna ask that.
Well, do you all remember, the emergency manager is the one that navigated this whole thing. And I don't know if you remember when the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality threatened the
MDEQ.
city council. They had to go to Detroit to federal court. The state of Michigan was suing the city for not signing on to a 30-year.
So
they basically muscle Flint
right.
Yes.
to signing a 30-year contract.
With Gleeville, but in that contract, our portion of it would help pay KWA bond.
But we don't benefit off the KWA.
No, we just got an offer we couldn't refuse.
And so the thing is too, like she just, kind of broke it down in a sense too. When you talk about water, water is a city's major income, right? Any city in America, they get a major source off of water.
Mm-hmm.
So just think about when we were on Detroit's water, right? We were Detroit's biggest consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So that enriched Detroit. You got to think this has been going on from the 70s. They've been trying to pull that water from Detroit for a long time. You got those outer counties that's been like Bloomfield, all the Metro Detroit. They've been prying on getting that water from Detroit way back when the Coleman Young days, right? So then now you have this point where they had to get Flint off the hook. Because if Flint is the biggest consumer, we got to go ahead and knock them off the deal. And so this is more about privatization on the water. This is about enriching those metro outer counties. This is nothing about Flint, because if you notice, the pipeline is going all around in all those small hick towns, and they're going to get rich off of this KWA pipeline. And Flint is on the hook. And it's just another thing where you see just, people coming into the city, into urban communities, and just really preying on the people by signing them into these deals, by putting them under receivership. When we at the state is ultimately the beholder. They are the issue. They the one who are really the one that should pay out during this settlement. Because it was because of the reason we were under emergency management,
Right.
we had to sign off on this bogus deal. So those facts need to be out there pushed so folks understand. It just ain't about Flint water.
It's
It
not.
wasn't just about Flint. It wasn't just about the water. It was about maximizing the profits
It was.
off the water.
That's right. And the beneficiaries are nameless and faceless people from Wall Street.
Of course.
Because even these rural communities,
Mm-hmm.
they might not be hit as hard as Flint is right now, but it's just a matter of time. Because as long as water is a commodity, they say water is the new oil,
Yeah.
And so when we talk about public ownership, we own our own water.
Mm-hmm.
But the emergency manager came in, and all of the emergency managers that went around to different cities in Michigan went in there to steal the public assets of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to say something about public assets. And, we talk a lot about black ownership and black entrepreneurship. But let's not minimize the fact that if you live in a minority city and you have public assets, that belongs to us.
Absolutely.
Our water, look at all of the things that the emergency manager let go. Our golf courses,
Man.
our water, our parks,
Sanitation.
our sanitation department. Why can't we have our own sanitation department back?
Our school system.
Why did y'all let Communities First, Glenn Wilson, have a 50-year tax abatement? They were talking so much about K Fields, nobody was paying attention to that.
Right.
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 They didn't
See?
even. They
That's
didn't
why I
even-
was talking about
See?
distractions.
See,
That's what I was
See?
talking about in them distractions.
That's
We
right.
eating garbage. All those
they
distractions.
gave them whoever heard of a 50-year anything? A 50-year tax abatement,
Yeah.
and they played the income card. They played the income
They said
card
they give it-
and said, we're gonna build this for low income.
That's what they
no,
said.
poor people. They said homeless folks. They were going
Well-
make the space better for homeless folks. That's what they saying. But no, what I mean, you absolutely right. That's a 50-year. Nobody in your right mind would do something like that, or even put limitations on it. What if they sell the land?
Who pushed that through though?
the city council. But everybody was talking about Cape Fields, and that didn't be,
No,
that 50-year thing didn't become.
You mean the black council members voted for that?
Yeah, they
Yes,
voted
they
for
did.
it because, and let me say this, because they voted for it, and this is my thing too. More or
I'm
less,
just saying.
I know, no, I'm with you.
Nah,
I don't agree that was the way to go. But I know their seeing was, I guess, to assist Community First, which is, the face of it is Glenn Wilson, who was a black man. So you have black council members who voted for it because they may see the value or because he was a black man. But sometimes we have these black faces rocking or doing the work on behalf of a white organization. And that's something that, Flint has to do better with. We have to be better with vetting things out, understanding where these people are playing, what role that they're playing, who they're working for, and then how this affects us. That was a terrible move as it relates to providing that 50-year abatement. We shouldn't have did that. And I would tell everybody on city council that was not the way to go.
But I agree with you wholeheartedly. We don't do our research and we don't do our due diligence and find out, because a lot of times that's exactly what they do. It's the bait and switch, right? Mm-hmm. They're gonna put your face as it, you working for. And I say that all the time. You're like, it's just who you work for. Who do you work for? For instance, like I said, when Reggie was on, and he was talking about the bone testing and all of that, and I'm like, so? Mm-hmm. And my thing was to him was, so what? Just because you work for them, I know who you work for. That don't mean nothing to me because you black. It's who you work for. And all of this that you're saying don't mean diddly to me. It's because of who you work for. So at the end of the day, I'm looking at the bigger picture, not just who's the face of it. And we don't do that. And we don't have, and that's the problem. We don't have any discernment. And I don't know why. We should have plenty of discernment with black and all of these things and our plight and all of these things that have happened to us in the past. We should have so much discernment about people and things. Mm-hmm. That is why do you throw that out the window? When your red flags go up or where your antennas shoot up and you get tingling on the back of your neck or the hairs on your arm stand up because these people not right, trust that.
But this the big question back to what Ms. Claire said and what you were saying about Reggie when he came in here said that if Skolnick them is playing the city, they getting more money. Mm-hmm. How can you go work for them? That's what I'm saying. It goes back to the conscious, what you just said. Like, you putting these people, even with that 50-year tax abatement, we'd be up here fighting, trying to help these same council people who would just go vote for something for 50 years because they said as a black person. What has that person did prior to this?
Absolutely.
Well, you bring up a good point, and I think it's a segue, and I'll come back to the water petitions, but it's a segue into the fact of this $94 million that we have to wrap our minds around the fact that that's our money. Mm-hmm. We keep seeing on Facebook and hearing people out in the community say, well, what is Neely gonna do with the money? That's not the right question.
Right.
That's not the right question. The question is, what are we gonna make Neely do with our money?
Absolutely.
Right.
That's the question right there.
Right there.
Come on now.
It's our money. When I worked for General Motors and I got paid on Friday, nobody told me what to do with my money.
That's right.
And this is the same thing, only it's a public situation.
Right.
It's our money, and we have to be the ones to assert ourselves and demand that money be used the way we want it to be used.
Absolutely.
And they work for us.
Yeah.
That's our money.
That's right.
And no mayor or city council gonna sit up and tell me how to spend our money.
Absolutely.
Let me reinforce that real quick. When you saying that, right, it's the way that we perceive things. It's definitely not about what Sheldon Neely wants to do with that money. This is not his call, right? Us as the residents, us as the people who receive that COVID relief bill money, as a vision for the city, we should be proposing what we would like to see that money and appropriate those dollars towards those issues. And I'm talking about youth programming, I'm talking about entrepreneurship, I'm talking about housing, right? We got 47 million this year, right? That's money in the coffers. Like we said, we can really create something off of.
Yes.
And we just have to have that. We just have to have it in us to say, hey, we're going to build strategies. We're going to work with community leaders. We're going to build a plan of action, and this is where we want those dollars to go. Because once again, those public figures work for us. We paid their salaries, so you never should be looking at it as what is Neely going to do about it, or what the city council are doing about it. It's like what you going to do about it, or what you would like to do with these monies.
That's right.
So you got to have that mindset how we should be moving. I'm glad you spoke on that, because a lot of folks who be on the net talking about as if like Neely is just the one, like he's the one that's supposed to be calling all these moves or something. That is not how this go. And to be honest with you, you know, in a true servant leadership, is to be like, I will be coming down to the residents and saying like, hey, listen, you know what, we got this money here. You know, we got some things that we need to address. What will be our top priorities in utilizing these dollars that's going to give us the greatest impact? And
Yes.
we're not getting that from the leadership that we have in place and the administrative that's in on right now, because they don't see it like that. That's not servant leadership.
Well, here's a few things that we have heard just on the street or whatever. Of course, the water affordability, which the petitions cover, and I just want to say something about water should be based on your ability to pay. Nobody should go without water. You cannot live without water. It should be no more, it should be just as accessible as the air we breathe, water, because you can't survive without it. But one of the things in the proposal that we presented had what they call a public water review board. That would be a board when you have a dispute about your bill. You could go to this board and you could argue your case about you feel like the water bill was unfair or whatever, and we want that board to have authority to make a decision about that. Right now, the city does have a review board, but it's made up of, they just passed ordinance, a thing on it, but you got the city attorney and this, no, we want residents to make those decisions. And it should be the last word, just as they have for property tax.
Right.
You know, if you wanna go dispute your property tax, they have a board for you to go, and you wanna ask for poverty exemption for your property taxes, and it's a citizen, resident-ran board that makes that determination. And this is already being done in other cities, Baltimore, Maryland in particular.
Yeah.
So this ain't nothing new. This is not brand new. But after what we have been through and the millions of dollars that has come into this city in the guise of helping with the water situation, I'm talking about from the feds, the state, and everything, millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Then the water, here come the water settlement, very underwhelming and insulting to us as a people and as human beings, very insulting. And we don't anticipate anything unless something really drastic happens. That settlement will probably go through. But now here come this $47 million. It's our turn. All of these people that's been making money and getting tax abatements, it's not the first one Community First got. And there's other, General Motors been getting tax breaks for years. All these people downtown that hijack our money from the water crisis, the millions of dollars that came to town, the Chambers of Commerce, Downtown Development Authority, the My Foundation. It's time for all these people to step aside and step back, and it's our turn. Our money, our turn.
That's right.
So here's some of the other things. Y'all know Richard Jones been pushing zero out water bills. A suggestion came about training young people and installing whole house water filters. Some of that was done, but on a very narrow basis. That's training young people. We heard this a couple of times from this woman from the 6th Ward. she said, train our young people now how to run this heavy duty construction equipment, because we know that infrastructure money gonna be here, and let them drive these big rigs and power tools and big, equipment. Train them so that they can do that work when the time comes.
Yeah.
So that's just some of the ideas. But what we wanna see, years ago, the city council used to have council meetings in the ward. And here's what I mean by that. A city council would meet in different wards, the whole council.
Mm-hmm.
Not just, I'm calling a meeting, no, the whole council.
Come on now. Yeah.
And have these meetings and let us tell you what we want done with this money.
Mm-hmm.
They could have them on their off weeks. They usually meet on Mondays and they have committees on Wednesdays. Every other week, on that off week, set up a meeting in each ward.
I think that's very visionary. I wish that we can get back to in-person meetings. I know folks, still, real skeptical about COVID, and it's very understandable.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really ready to get back in front of these folks. I'm really, ready to look at Kate Fields in her eyes and just see right through her of all the garbage that just take place. And then as well as, just everybody else who's, just kind of really up there just in the standstill. I think, we have to charge these people. We have to continue to keep getting them in the room, and we have to go ahead and force the issue. And right now, I just think that, we just kind of like just going on a whim, and like nothing is really like getting done. Nothing is really happening. Just like this past week, when you talk about like the walkout and it's just this side versus this side, I think that's so ridiculous. But everybody in the center, which is us losing.
Well, and there is, sometimes you do what you got to do, but we don't want our issues to get sidestepped.
No.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, whatever they got to do to, discipline each other or something as a council or whatever, but the bottom line is, we have to have what's on our agenda.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
And that community first thing was just I was flabbergasted. And they have gotten tax abatements before. And some people don't even believe in the movement to build apartments, because where's the movement to build single-family homes? So you can pass on something to your grandkids.
But look at all the apartments that we had and they tore down now.
They're all.
Look at all the apartments that we got. Do they look like they're upscale, standing apartment complexes?
Not at all.
Not even the one they just opened on Saginaw.
No.
The Clark County.
Middays.
You said a
Even the
valid,
one on Baptist.
you said a valid point when you talk about, we don't need more apartment buildings. We don't need that. We really need to establish asset building, generational wealth. We talked about this last week. The first and easiest way to create or build wealth is owning your own home. Because then that comes with equity, you're able to leverage, right? Those type of things, and you actually have something to pass on to your young people when it's time for you to move on. And like Chris was saying, apartments leads to the ghetto.
Correct, Chris. I agree.
That was funny, Chris, but to be honest with you,
I agree.
we need to be establishing and strengthening families. How do we help support families go to a point where they are, potentially trying to build, they got young children, and they looking futuristically at what they look like, and how do we create and put wraparound services and provide resources to make sure that the parents are supported, they're educated, and then they have opportunity for careers, which they make sure that their children automatically become successful because they have some resources and assets available. Those are the things where we have to start engineering. We don't want to be in a piss poor mindset, living in apartments and paying these folks, man, and not really having true ownership.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, and we could have these ward meetings, because we need to be calling our council people and telling them we want a council meeting in this ward to hear from all the residents about this $47 million, because some of us do understand that it is our money.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us get that. And the only way others gonna get it is when they had invited to give their ideas and their input into this. This is a golden opportunity. It's historic. This just doesn't happen.
Mhm.
And so the COVID situation brought out some very challenging things, but it brought out some other things, and we need to take advantage of it and build on it.
So, I just wanted to address something. Jaleel made a comment and said, there have been 1,000 shows, podcasts, and media talk about the water conspiracy settlement and how we're being mistreated and unjust. What have we gotten from this talk? Have any action changed the outcome? How will this information translate into action? Kind of spoke on this earlier. Those kind of comments kind of drive me crazy a little bit. Jaleel, you can call me, we can talk about it. But here's the thing. Those comments right there are just like, to be honest with you, it's kind of trash. Because I just feel like if you asking all these questions, but it's not like you coming with something and saying something different. You know what I'm saying? Like, this lady is out there. Like, how you, for real? That's the comment you had of this lady? This lady is for real out there. I have nothing to say about being out there doing anything because this lady is out there. I done seen her standing in a corner. I done seen her standing on a corner. I done seen her in an abandoned parking lot. An abandoned parking lot at Farmer's Market, and that's the comment. Like, seriously, that just rubbed me a little the wrong way. If you didn't mean it like that, hey, can you call me and tell me? Because I just maybe I just read that wrong. But that just kind of pissed me off a little bit because, like, for real, this lady is out there. She is not, she not half-stepping. She not just talking about it. She being about it. Like, right? She out here with petitions. She doing all of this stuff, and that's your comment? Like, for real? These podcasts only doing that? Yeah, but how else you gonna get information out there? I can stand on the corner with a bullhorn all day, but if this is a platform, we use this platform to give out information, and that's exactly what it is. Now, when we start doing the action, and when we out there and we with the action, then I don't want to hear all that shit. I want everybody to be standing. Yeah. Listen, when you having your action and you doing your things, we be out there if we can be out there. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nobody down in that. Even if it's 2 people or 3 people, this is one lady that she don't have to do that. But I take offense to that for her. I just read that. I literally was offended by that. Like I said, if you didn't mean it like that, hey, say that. But you know me, Jaleel, and you know how I be rocking. You know how I'm coming. I just took a little offense to that because I'm just like, really? We get a lot from those talks because it's a lot of people that talk about it, and we still need to have all of that out there. This information needs to be out there. So, of course, we need that. And that's the reason why we have that, so that we can come to some form of action. And we need an action plan. And these are some ways that we do it. Because it's not always just about standing out there, getting it out there. We have to have these type of platforms. I'm thankful for these platforms. I've watched so many podcasts where I got way more information. I'm like, oh, damn, I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? And it gave me an opportunity to research some other things or call and ask questions.
And then that let other people know who watching it that might have an idea on how to get the action.
Yeah. And like she gave me a lot of information that I didn't know. So then it gives you an opportunity to ask more questions and to say that. Like, I'm just saying, like, there are so many people, like, we all are talking about it. We really all are talking about it because of the thing. And I keep talking about it and I keep bringing it up because it is a thing. And I'm not in the city. I don't even live in the city. I don't even have the water issue. However, it's an issue because it's affecting the people that I love. It's affecting all of the people that I love and people that I don't know that I love. You know what I'm saying? Even the people like the people that I love and the people that they love, it's affecting everybody. So yeah, I want to keep that conversation up there. I want to keep putting it out there because I don't want it to slip from anybody's mind. I don't want us to be on the path that we just like, you know, we let it go. And we get bamboozled into thinking about something else and we forget that this water is nasty as shit and we need to get it fixed.
And it's too high.
I support the sister 102,000%, man. We had these conversations so that way we can build action plans, and I do appreciate Mrs. and Mama Claire coming up with the facts, putting out there, hitting the ground, doing petitions. Okay. We just ain't just talking about stuff. Some of us just don't want to stand next to Neely and take pictures and think that we're making a difference. That stuff ain't it. I don't see that as being constructive or making an impact at all. I think especially, you know, when folks had a hand to do with the water crisis. So I think, you know what I'm saying, you got to really understand, like, what you're doing and how you moving it, and what place and what part are you working on? What are you doing about it? What conversations are you having? What type of involvement are you trying to create? Like, those are the things that we're trying to come to, you know, to resolutions. We ain't got time to be just, you know, lollygagging and flipping, flopping, and flapping like flapjacks. Like, that ain't never been my stilo, and I really appreciate these podcasts, and I appreciate these conversations. I appreciate the folks that's out there on the front lines.
Hats off to you
I
all for
appreciate
providing
everybody
a
getting to it.
platform.
Cause we gotta get that water bill down. I just got my new charges in the mail, and just for this month alone was $130 for 1 month. Ain't nobody using that much nasty water. I'm taking a shower and that's it, and flushing the toilet. I can't brush my teeth in it. I don't cook in it.
Right.
My
Can't.
Kool-Aid I gotta make with with bottled water.
See,
Cause I don't drink pop, so I gotta make some juice.
Right.
and this is
$130.
something that if we act now and grab a hold to this and fight for this, we will be laying a foundation and a legacy
Come on,
for
man.
the city of Flint.
Yeah.
That this is a place where you're not gonna lose your home because of some water. Are you kidding me?
That's the
Yeah.
real, or
Let's just get
or-
humane about this and
Yeah.
do the right thing.
or get your
That's
children.
all.
Your children can be taken from your home from CPS.
Oh,
and not
yes,
have
they
to
can.
go
As
home.
a
So
matter
you
of
gotta think
fact,
about this as making it make sense.
When the United Nations came to Detroit in 2014, because they was turning water off like
Yeah.
crazy down there.
Yeah,
And
I remember
some
that.
of the teachers were giving testimonies,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the teachers said to her students, young elementary kids, she said, if your water is off at your house,
Mhm.
do not tell me.
Yeah.
I know.
Do not tell me,
Don't tell nobody.
because they are required
They are.
to
Yeah.
report to
Right.
Child Protective if you live in a home without water. Now, we just not gonna live like that in Flint, Michigan.
No,
And we
that's
gonna put
crazy.
this as a foundation for a legacy,
Come on, man.
that we were the
Yeah.
ones, we done started a lot of
So
stuff
Tara,
in
you
Flint.
stay out the
Are
city.
you
So
kidding?
how often do y'all pay y'all water bills?
I pay my water bill every 3 months, and my water bill was my water bill was like actually my water bill was probably like $178, but I paid it every 3
See,
months.
for 3 months though, right?
$50.
$130 for 1
Yeah.
month, and nobody. And come on, I'm one person. I'm not
See.
using that much water.
And then we do want to give our hearts out to Benton Harbor, because they are experiencing some of the same challenges that, you know, us as
Absolutely.
Flintstones have been through. And so us being the model from being bad water, or really trying to make a difference, and, you know, having bad leadership that puts us in these crunches.
Right.
You know, so Benton Harbor is experiencing the same things. And so my heart go out to the residents in Benton Harbor, and make sure that, you know, we are with you. We support you. I talked to
Definitely
Reverend
support
Pickney, you know, the folks, the real people out there in the streets that's really out there pushing. You know, even Brother Joel, you know, we really are out there really having those dialogues and seeing, like, telling them and sharing information, some of the things that we have went through and experienced.
And the mayor, what's his name? Mike Muhammad. What's his name?
Mark Muhammad.
Mark Muhammad. Yes.
How you can, you know, better serve the residents, and what solutions that we can bring forth. Because, you know, that's a real issue and it's a real situation. And just like these queens were saying, it can lead to other drastic problems that can be detrimental for families and black people just in general. So we want to always send our love and shout out to Benton Harbor. Reverend Pickney, you know, that's my guy. He's a solid brother, man. He was just on the air with Karen Weaver just this morning. Just kind of just talking about everything that's taking place out there. They got some real issues. They got some bad situations with leadership taking place out there in Benton Harbor too. So, you know, this is what put Flint in the fire. So I just want to make sure that you folks out there are just kind of watching those folks. Don't be bamboozled. Do not follow the circus. Right? Do not allow them people just to play with you. Do not allow them to give you these bogus settlements. You should learn from this situation from Flint. Don't have those same players that was for the Flint water crisis and who played a role in the Flint water crisis be the public figures to be the saviors. That ain't it. So you want to be very smart. You want to think about those things. You want to go ahead and stay strong. I support Reverend Pickney, and I support, you know, the community of Benton Harbor.
All right.
I got one thing I would like to say. maybe we, you know, just on another level, because I know we're fighting with trying to actually get some of the water stuff changed as a whole. How they bill us and how, you know, putting that board together and et cetera, et cetera. But maybe we, you know, as Black Lives Matter and work with a couple other organizations and some church and probably try to start some, you know, GoFundMe or some or whatever, some of those type of funds to try to help people who really, you know, on the verge of, you know, probably getting their stuff shut off. Because I heard that Nilly them is in the process of trying to get all that back going with, they starting with the businesses first, asking them to either, you know, set up a payment arrangement or make some kind of payment on it.
On the water?
Mm-hmm.
For businesses.
Yeah, for businesses. And then pretty soon y'all know they probably gonna try to get the residents.
It's gonna be that.
But I know that Catholic Charities, right, I know Catholic Charities have put some things together where they had got some funds to help people with their rent and stuff. And, you know, maybe we should just try to, you know, people who donate or whatever, you know, we could, like we was talking about, you know, do a big dinner, you know, whoever donates some big amount, give out some awards, just some stuff like that, you know. Try to help those families if we can with those extra fundings.
I think, you know, that's a good idea, and I know the Queen has definitely some interventions in place, and it's just gonna take the community to get.
Yeah, and I don't know, one little session or whatever, we could put it together over a course of months or so, you know, just keep putting it out there on the podcast, like if y'all want to donate, do this, that. You know, we have Black Lives Matter be in charge of those funds, and that way we can write personal checks, or Black Lives Matter can write some check that we can do as a write-off, you know, at the end of our course or whatever, and just help those families that's really in need. You know, so we gotta start thinking about it. Like we said, you know, just being on top of everything. Cause like I said, it was crazy to me that they even put that back in effect with the businesses. I mean, I know it's a couple businesses, especially like those apartments that old City of Flint water, $500,000 just for water.
I was just getting ready to say that. Is that the reason why that's coming into play? Because these businesses haven't been paying their water bills? Because they haven't been paying their water bills.
I saw he was going after local businesses, not even businesses that's like them, that's out of, you know, out of state or out of country.
No, I'm saying the local businesses. I'm like, is that the reason why he's trying to put that in place? You know, it's kind of saving face a little bit because they haven't been paying their water bills.
No, I know it was a couple businesses that they actually called out into the article, and it was like some people that was like in the tens of thousands, but I don't know why them would have been the first people on my list because they really had $500,000 in their water. But I guess since they closed the apartments down, they probably not gonna go after them or whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna just say this too, man. I wish, you know, people in the city of Flint, everybody, all you so-called activists or whatever the case may be, you know, we scream unity, we scream togetherness, but y'all don't represent that, man. Y'all just be faking it. That stuff is disgusting. Like, it's really sickening to us young folks, just us people that's really out there putting it down and looking at y'all being like some jacks out here. You know what I'm saying? That stuff, we lose respect for that.
Just think about it. Everybody donated
and like the thing is, it shows. And that's where we at as a generation. You know, let's be bold about what we is. Let's be unified for real. You know, we got real problems with each other. We need to sit in the back room and deal with it and make sure that we come out strong and unified as one. We can't get nowhere with y'all acting like this. You got some of these folks downtown and administration, and then you got the community. That's what it's feeling like in this community. It's the administration versus the community. And that does not do any good for us as a whole, as this community, because saying like sucker ducks like sister be talking about, be out there running your mouth, man, and ain't doing a dang thing for these people in the city. You know, we sick and tired of it. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta call you out. I don't even want you standing next to me, man. Real talk. I don't even want you standing next to me if you sitting up there on some silly circus type stuff. That's why I don't come to these stuff. No, that's why a lot of times that's why I don't be coming to these meetings. I don't come to these tables. I don't sit up there and engage myself with people that I know that ain't about a goddamn thing. And so that be my problem with folks in this city. You got people up here walking around thinking that they doing this and doing that and making a difference, but you not. You really not. And people on the outside just laughing at that stuff. Even us, we laugh at this stuff. Like, it's laughing, and you know, my grandfather used to say, man, I had to laugh to keep from crying. Yeah. Because it's so hurtful. It sucked. But it's like, man, if I would really just get engaged with this, man, I would be a terror. Yeah. And I just be trying to be respectful. And at the same time, I guess I be trying to be resourceful. Try to provide resolutions. Try to stay motivated and positive. But sometimes, man, I'm losing my will with some of you.
Are they really activists? Are they really activists though? Because
You gotta look at mama real quick.
This is the thing that I have an issue with. Like, are they really activists though? Because you know, activism. You see activists say that they're out and they're doing things, they're in motion or whatever, right? Are they really activists though? Because I don't like these people. Some of these people I don't see. Like I said in the beginning of the show, you know, you see them on these things and they start, you know, behind the keyboard and they saying all these things, but when things are happening, like I've never seen any of them standing with her.
I ain't seen none of y'all. I ain't seen none of y'all during the water crisis. And mama,
But if you go,
I was the youngest one out there.
if you go through that,
Hold on. I was the youngest one out there because there's got to be a point got to be made. Them folks out there was out there day in, day out.
Absolutely.
Riding buses going down to Lansing, fighting the issue, fighting the power. We under receivership, fighting the emergency manager down there early, Snyder. Y'all folks wasn't out. No, y'all folks wasn't nowhere near this. But y'all come on these platforms and you come out with all these elaborate words like you know got the answer, or like you've been involved or you've been engaged. You ain't been there. You haven't, right? And so when people like, you know, Mama Claire and you know, and folks like, you know, folks come with these resolutions and these solutions, I can respect that.
Absolutely.
Right? And I'm going to get a flow. We're going to get a platform so we can do 100 podcasts about this conversation.
well, right, go through that Flint politics post. A lot of them people already done said they're not even from Flint. I mean, they from Flint, but they don't live here no more. They said they not even from here no more.
That is the most disgusting page I've ever seen, and that's why I'm not a part of it.
And there's a lot of them, like the Flint politics, the rebrand.
I just really just have a problem with all of those people doing all of those things. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. Do a podcast. I could respect you more if you did a podcast and I could see your face and I could see you doing these things and you could bring some people on and you could talk to them about it or whatever. Or you know what? Better yet, come to this podcast. Come talk to us. I would love to have you come and sit right here and say some of these things and let's talk about it. For real. I would love that. Brenda Lee Hall. Come chill. I would like to know why you feel like you feel. All these other people. What's dude's name? Lou Mason. Come chill.
He the one who made
Come chill. I would really like to talk to you about it. Like I would like to know what's your motive behind that. What do you get out of that? Because I mean, what kind of superpower did it give you to sit behind the keyboard and talk all this trash, but I never see you do anything? I would, even more than that, I would love to see all of you to have all of that mouth, all of those things to say, to come and stand with her sometimes out there where she's standing and doing those petitions. I would love to see any of you doing any of those things. Just something, anything. I would love for you to go out to what Jaleel always talking about, his man up peacekeepers. I would love for y'all to go out there with him. I would love for all of y'all to do any of those things, but I don't really see you in none of those things. None of them. So when you're not even doing those little bitty things, I can't respect any of that. I can't even respect your opinion because you got all of this stuff to say, but you never around. You're never around. Do you even live in the city? Is that why it don't bother you that much? Because you don't live in the city. I don't live in the city, but it bothers me. That bothers me. My grandmother lived in the city. My grandmother lived at 752 East Baltimore my whole life. That's in the city. All of this, all of these things. I'm just saying. I care about it. I care about these people, and I care about what happened. Just because I live on, just on the outside, I live in Beach, I'm still a part of that though. I'm still a part. And even though we do live on the outskirts, we should be applauded, we should be ashamed, and we should all be standing with all of you as well. I'm not here just because I want to be, or just because I think it's glamorous, or just because I think that it's the thing to do. No, because I really believe in that, and I'm really going to stand on it. And I'm going to call all you suckers out every time I see it. Every single time. Because that's ridiculous. It is ridiculous for you all to be saying all of this trash that you're saying. And y'all the distraction. I can't even worry about nobody else. Y'all a distraction. And y'all distracting the other people that really have the stuff on their mind. And then they see this garbage and they feeding from your garbage. Y'all a distraction. Y'all all a distraction. I think they should cut. Mark Zuckerberg, you putting all of these other people in Facebook jail. Put that damn page in jail. That page is mess. A fucking mess.
Y'all remember when we did the first rededication at the Black Lives thing? we had so many people that came from, I don't know if y'all remember that white lady or whatever, we had them come from Lansing, that one guy came, I forgot what part of Michigan he said, but you have so many people that come from out of the city, and they do work here.
Yeah.
They come and put the work down right with us. I was amazed when we was talking to them people, and they said they weren't even from here.
Right.
They just drove down.
And you got more people, that's the thing too, that's why we talk about full engagement. You got more people that live outside the city limits that's more engaged in Flint City politics. And it should be the other way around. We should be gatekeepers of our politics, our community, what goes on in here. So we should be the narrators behind the story. We should never let folks dictate this stuff, man, who ain't been experiencing it. It's just crazy. That's like being down with the team. You ain't been down, you ain't been in the mud. You ain't got nothing to talk about. You don't even understand this come up. So you can't allow other people to come in here and dictate what we do and how we operate, and that's been our problem since day one.
But how do we change? How can we get the water situation changed, though, Ms. McClinton?
As far as the cost or well, at the end of the day, we're gonna have to figure out a way to decouple ourselves away from the Wall Street investors. That's one thing, because the money that we spending for them to make money is money that could be used for restoration. The other thing is, and we still got a big problem. We never were even offered to do the internal plumbing. Our internal plumbing needs changing. And to her credit, former Mayor Karen Weaver always advocated that not just the service line, but the inside plumbing. And I want to say something about the Weaver-Neely scenario. Karen Weaver sent her chief financial officer to Philadelphia. Some of us as activists went to this conference on water affordability. She sent him there and told him, you get that information so we can see, can we get this in Flint? Okay, but election happened, so that didn't. And so there was some chips put in for this water affordability before. On the other hand, Neely, to his credit, has suspended water shutoffs. That's big. Everybody ain't doing that. And so we've got the water affordability and stopping all shutoffs permanently, and both of them did have a hand in some aspects of this. So don't come at us about that, because we're not into that.
You heard it. Don't come at us like that.
You know, we can give credit where credit is due, but we moving on.
Right.
And this ain't about no camp and all this. That's not what we're here for.
Absolutely not.
All right.
No, we just were real facts, and we just want relief.
Huey Newsom was her CFO at the time. And we was down there in Philadelphia at that conference trying to learn from the mayor down there. They had a water affordability plan. We was trying to take notes and went to the elevator and looked up Huey Newsom. We're like, what are you doing here? He said, they made me come. They made me come, find out about water affordability.
That's right.
All right now.
That's where we need to be.
All right.
So once again, before we kind of wrap this segment up, once again, I appreciate the conversation. We still encourage folks, if you got some things that you would like to say in the comment, leave your comment. Let's go and hear what you got to say. We will respond too. If we don't see it today, we will see it tomorrow, and we will make sure we get back with you. But we want to make sure that we have some parting words for our audience and everybody who is looking to be a part of the petition, who want to sign a petition, or even learn more about the petition. Please give them that insight.
Okay, well, the petitions have been, for the most part, turned in, but we still welcome signatures, because what we believe is that everybody can do something. And if you don't do nothing but sign your name, that's something.
Correct.
And the other thing we want people to do is call the city council meetings and tell them that you want water affordability when they have the public speaking. Call them and tell them you want a water affordability. And I can't tell you how many people, when we approached them about the petition about water affordability, has said it should be free. A lot of people said that, especially in Flint.
Of course.
Okay, so everybody can do something. We urge you to call your councilman, and if you wanna get involved with this, because we're doing some other things, planning on how to push that, it's just not gonna come about on its own. You can get in touch with Black Lives Matter and Peeking Forward,
We got the broadcast number up there, right? You got it up there?
Let us
You
know.
can contact us, and
Yeah.
we'll get the contact of Mrs. Claire McClinton,
Mhm.
and then we'll get the conversation going that route.
Yes, cause we're gonna stay connected.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're gonna stay connected, for sure. And I wanna say too that, I'm sorry to hear about some of the people who lost loved ones and friends around here. And it just reminds me of, a gospel song that came to my mind when I was hearing about that. And that was, I'm so glad that trouble don't last always. Always. And sometimes I have to go to that to get lifted up
Come on,
in
man.
a bed, when you're in a bad place. But that's one of my favorite. I'm so glad that trouble don't last always. So my heart goes out. We lost one of our water warriors a couple weeks ago. And so it is hard. And then on the other hand, as far as the movement is concerned, the water and hitting the reset button and rejuvenating our city.
Come on now, I'm feeling it.
Here's one of the things that some of the rallies and things. I believe that we will win.
That's
Oh,
right.
we gonna do it. We gonna
I
do it.
believe that we will win.
We gonna
That's
do it.
right.
That's
So
it.
thank y'all again. Appreciate it.
Give a round of applause.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Love having you. We
Keep
so
going.
appreciate you.
Keep going. That's. And you're right. It can't rain forever. But we are looking for better days, and so we wet. So we are looking for relief. So thank you again to Mrs. Claire McClinton.
Absolutely.
If you have any information that you would like to connect with her, please reach out. We'll make sure that we'll get you connected to her, and also sign that petition. We'll have some here at the building. You come down, sign the petition, and we'll send it right back to Mrs. Claire. So with that being said, we all got any parting words?
I just want to say, just everybody, just remember to take some time for yourself. Make sure that you're going within. You know, you are reaching back and recharging yourself, because we all need that. You can't give from an empty vessel. So make sure you're taking the time to reach back and do some things. Quiet yourself, still your mind, you know, and just rejuvenate and recharge. You know, just like you put your cell phone on the charger and it has to recharge all night, and you need to do that. Do the same with your mind and your body. So make sure you're taking the time out to do that, because this wealth is health, health is wealth. All of those things, and you know, you make sure that you're doing that for yourself, because it's very important, you know. And just because you may not think that somebody is paying attention and noticing the stress and all these things that you've been going through, they do. And you know, people need those encouraging words, those smiles, those hugs, and anything else that you're able to give. You know, people need that. So make sure you're taking the time to recharge and rejuvenate, and just still your mind and just be at a place and get some peace. You know, like we were saying, whether it's being by some water, walking in nature, sitting out in your yard, grounding, you know, getting some of that vitamin D while we got it coming in, streaming in strong still, you know, those things. Meditate, you know, sing a song, just listen to some music, you know, music without words. Just whatever it is that you do to get some type of peace, do just that, and do it by yourself. Just do that, whatever it is. I have no formula. I just know the formula that works for me. Just putting that out there. But make sure you all do that, and make sure that you take some time out to give your flowers while people are here to receive them. You know, make sure that you're telling people that you appreciate them. Make sure that you know, call and check on the person. If they cross your mind, call them right then, because you never know what that is. That's some type of download giving you a reason to call them. I learned that the hard way, but make sure that you do that. If somebody comes to your mind, make sure you call them right away, no matter the time of the day. You know, they'll see it eventually and know that you were thinking about them. You know, just do that. It's just little things like that. And as far as like this thing that's going on with the city, y'all, I know people are saying that, you know, we don't have any unity and we don't have any of this or that, but you know, a lot of the times those are the people that don't even want to really see the unity for real. So listen, just make sure that you're doing your part. And when you're doing your part, that's all that really matters, because at the end of the day, all of those things are gonna come together. As long as you're all doing your part, everything is gonna come together as it should, but you gotta be doing your part. We can't keep talking about it, we gotta be about it as well. And we have to be thankful for these platforms that we have to get these things out, you know, and the information that we give out, as long as it's information and it's not a distraction, right? So I think that those are important. You know, so let's make sure we do that. And as far as like, you know, I see you, Jaleel, and calling people out and saying that you got to be mindful of these accusations. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm saying what I'm saying. And I said I don't see any of them. And that's exactly what I said, and I mean it. I stand on that. I don't see them. And whether they're doing anything on the foreground or the background or whatever, still negates the fact that I'm saying what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that to say that I'm having an issue with them. And I said that to say, hey, come talk to me. I'm not saying it just be talking behind their back. I'm saying come talk to me. I'm offering the conversation up. I'm offering the table to come have a conversation. It's not that I'm saying anything out of order. I'm not. I'm saying come have a conversation. And that's exactly what it is. And I respect those conversations. They're conversations and they're debates. I'm not arguing it with anybody about anything. It's a conversation. And I would love to converse with anybody about any of those things. And I open the floor and the table just for it.
That's it.
That was well put. And then I just want to say this, speaking to the fact that, you know, when we talk about respect for ourselves, we got to have respect for ourselves. You know, we have to do better as people. So, you know what I'm saying? Do right. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause at the end of the day, I'm at this point in life. I can care less what anybody feels. I can care less what anybody think. You know, I know what I represent. I know what I stand for. And I've been standing for the same thing. I came in and I leave out the same way I came in. And so, man, I just appreciate all the real ones in the field that stand for something, man. And I can call it all day. But you know, I give your flowers when I see you. So keep doing what you got to do. Continue to keep being a blessing. Always stay positive. We at a spiritual warfare right now. It's not about religion. It's not about any group society. It's about being good people. So we can find that in our hearts to really do that. But not only just talk that silly talk, but be about it. Everything will be all right. So we're gonna close this segment out on a good note. I had a phenomenal time, you know, with these queens, and you know, they be giving me all the energy and inspiring me. So, you know, I'm gonna keep that going and keep doing my part, and you know, leave it at that. So, that being said, close out this segment.